Good morning, students. Today we'll read a beautiful poem, The Violet. Violet, written by Jane Taylor. Here, the violet is a beautiful wild flower bloomed in a valley. The flower is named after its color, similarly as a fruit orange is named after its color. In this poem, we will find the qualities, the virtues that is attributed to the flower, which can relate to every human being. This wonderful poem gives us an important life lesson, as one should follow the violet, a wild flower, to make our life more virtuous. Through this poem, Jane Taylor wants to emphasize the need of being humble and polite. Just because a person or an object possesses beauty should not make that person or object proud of it. There should be a balance between beauty and humility. The poetry is made up of 4 quatrains, and I'll be reading this poetry stanza by stanza. The violet. Down in a green and shady bed, a modest violet grew. Its stalk was bent, it hung its head as if to hide from view. And yet it was a lovely flower, its colors bright and fair. It might have graced a rosy bow instead of hiding there. Yet there it was content to bloom, in modest tints arrayed, and there diffused its sweet perfume within the silent shade. Then let me to the valley go, this pretty flower to see, that I may also learn to grow in sweet humility. The poem opens with the word, down in a green and shady bed, a modest violet grew. Here the word modest means simple, or in other words, you can say not talking too much about your own abilities. The poet spots the modest violet which is trying to hide itself by growing in the shaded part of the valley. That is the word shady bed, which means a green grass bed. Its stalk was bent, it hung its head as if to hide from view. Here, the flower is trying to hide itself by growing in the shaded region with its bent stalk and its head hung low. The flower is doing this as if it is shy of all the admiration it attracts. It does not want that people should admire its beauty. All these qualities of the flower, violet, signals that how humble or modest this violet flower is. Stanza 2. And yet it was a lovely flower, its colors bright and fair. It might have graced a rosy bower instead of hiding there. Here, bower means a leafy and shady place in a garden. The poet emphasizes that although the violet grew in a shaded part of the valley with its head hung low and bent stalk, and did not want others to notice it, still poet could spot its beauty and said, yet it was a lovely flower and its color bright and fair. The flowers that poet noticed was lovely and bright in color. It might have graced a rosy bower instead of hiding there. The poet wonders that why this beautiful flower is hiding itself? Instead of growing in the valley, it could have grown in a beautiful garden where people would have come and seen it and admired its beauty. Let's move on the next stanza. Yet there it was content to bloom, in modest tints arrayed, and there diffused a sweet perfume within the silent shade. Here, the word tints means a shade or variety of color. Arrayed, that means arranged or displayed. And third, diffused. Diffused means spread. The poet feels that with its beauty and charm, it could be a part of rosy bower, flaunting its beauty, yet there it was content to bloom in modest tints arrayed. Yet it chooses to always bow down and spread its perfume in that silent shade by showing humility. There, its sweet perfume is unnoticed by others because that place is silent. Nobody notices the beauty, and the flower is pretty fine with that. Here, poet says that the flower is pretty fine with that nobody notices the beauty of violet. Next stanza. Then let me to the valley go, this pretty flower to see, that I may also learn to grow in sweet humility. Here the word humility means modesty or not being vain or proud. The poet is touched by the modesty of such a beautiful flower and decides to go to the valley to see this beautiful flower, that I may also learn to grow in sweet humility. She wants to learn the lesson of simplicity from these flowers so that she may learn to grow in humility. Or here, humility brings about another theme of the poem, like it can also be assumed that beauty is a less important factor in life than humility and modesty. Let's discuss the poetic devices in the poem. Poetic device is a technique that a writer or poet uses to produce a special effect in their writing. We can find personification here. It means, but what personification means? It means to give human qualities or trait to an object or non-living thing. For example, here in this poem, personification is used as poet called pretty flower. The poet has personified a flower by giving human quality of beauty to the flower. Let's discuss rhyme scheme of this poem. In this piece of poetry, the rhyme scheme is A B A B, as in first stanza, bed is rhyming with head and grew is rhyming with view. Let's revise the poem by discussing the theme of the poem. Through this poem, Jane Taylor wants to emphasize the need of being humble and polite. Every man should learn modesty and contentment from violets, because despite of their dazzling beauty, they are content in their humble belonging and make this world lovable. In a nutshell, we can say the beauty of a person does not hamper in the way of their morals and values of a person. There should be a balance between beauty and humility. Values. I hope you very well understood the poem. Now it's time for activity. So here we have two questions. Number 1, find synonyms of the words the poet has used to describe the violet. Second, list any 5 phrases which use color to denote qualities and emotions. Thank you.